Hello, guys. You're big and beautiful. All right, so this is the day of harvesting, dispatching our meat chickens. These are 12-week-old Freedom Rangers. Mostly I got males, but I do have some females as well. So the males will be a little bit bigger and females will be a little smaller. We will weigh them, but today is a dispatching day. It's okay, buddy. Don't get upset. So I'm going to attempt to show part of the process. Viewer discretion is advised because I'm not going to show everything, but I don't want to upset anybody either. Hello, hello, you're beautiful. Yes, you are. Look at them. Freedom Rangers are much different than the white broilers, the Cornish broilers or cross broilers. Those only require 8 weeks for before slaughter. These are much longer. So therefore, I'm going to have a separate video where I'm going to discuss the cost of raising a Cornish one for 8 weeks or Freedom Ranger for 12 weeks because there is a cost difference. And many will argue that raising these guys is not cost effective. Perhaps, and we will discuss it. Okay. In the meantime, we need to get them ready. We have to set everything up. All right, let me just briefly show the steps. Well, here we have the cones, and this is much bigger cone, so obviously that's for the turkeys. And this cone is for chickens. This is a homemade, a friend built this for us, but they sell these on Amazon, on chicken supply, tractor supply stores. A lot of different places sell these cones that you can attach to any kind of wall or anything. Sometimes they will have multiple, 3, 4. We only run with one and it's enough. Then we set something underneath, and this is how we like to do it because once the chicken goes upside down, we need things to collect down here. So that's why we have the trash bag. It's easier that way. And we always have a bucket with water because that's why I like to keep the knife to keep it clean and keep it all organized. Okay. Then we have water going. We need to have hot water. And I always use a thermometer to make sure we have the right temperature. What we have, actually, we have three water boiling. We don't need boiling water. We just need hot water. Okay. I know everyone has their preferences, but we like to have about 155, 160 Fahrenheit warmth for water. So the feathers come out nice and easy, and we're going to be scalding them in this hot water. And of course, we're going to be needing a plucker, and this is our plucker. This is a very big plucker, so we can do many chickens at the same time. We originally purchased this a few years ago when we were doing turkeys. It was perfect for gigantic turkeys, 30, 40-pound turkeys. But again, it's great for chickens as well. So my husband always puts an iron rod into the ground for grounding just to make sure that it's safe. And this is our also little trick that we do. So that is where the feathers will be coming out. We used an old lid and we drilled holes in it. So the water will be coming through it and going down by gravity, but catching all the feathers. So the water will go down, but the feathers will be caught in this lid. And, we have certain things we just repurpose on a homestead, and we use old things for use on a homestead. Nothing goes to waste. So this is one of these examples. But this is our gigantic plucker. What plucker this is? This is the plucker, and I think it's the biggest one they have. So that's what we have. Okay, so what else? Let me show you the next step. All right, and this is going to be the next step. Once the chicken is nicely cleaned and gutted and everything that doesn't belong on a chicken is removed, we're going to be putting them in these buckets for washing. This is just plain, clean, cold water. And that's all that's required, cold water. If this process was done in the summer months, we obviously would have to add ice, some sort of ice. But the blessing is today was actually only 30 degrees outside. So everything was frozen this morning. So no need for ice. The water naturally is going to be cold today. The warmest is going to get, I think, 40 or 41. So perfect. No flies. Perfect day. And this is my Gutting station, I use regular tables. We're not that fancy. We don't have metal tables. And I just cover with a gigantic trash bag and everything is set up. I have my knives and I'll show you the type of knives I like to use. And obviously some sort of gloves or something like that. To catch all the guts, I also use a bucket right underneath, just like this, lined with a trash bag. It's just easier for cleaning after. And that is it, my friends. So let's go get the first bird. It's a cold day today, so we needed a fire because it's super cold today. It's cold to work outside. So we normally do dispatching of our chickens in the summer, like early June or late May, but we couldn't get any chickens. There was chicken shortage, I guess. So we ended up getting them late in the season. So today is November 15th, and we need to have a little fire to keep us nice and warm. She's beautiful. Okay, so thank you for feeding us.
Thank you for your life. Oh, good. Yeah. They have to lift it, get it under the feathers.
So we're just dunking it in hot water until the tail and wing feathers can come off easily. Now we're using the plucking machine. It uses cold water and these little rubber grabbers, these little fingers that grab onto the feathers without pulling the skin. So usually we have to be careful of how hot the water is when we're dunking them so it doesn't rip the skin. And look at that. Perfectly clean. Beautiful.
Wow, these chickens are fat. Look at this internal fat everywhere, nice and yellow. So this is all going to be saved up and made into schmaltz. If you want to know what schmaltz is, that's a fancy word. I think it's an Yiddish word, or maybe, I don't know. Mama used to call it smalets. But you render this fat into beautiful, beautiful chicken lard. It's called schmaltz. Look at this gorgeousness. Unbelievable. And why are they so fat? My guess is because it was later in the season. So they were eating a lot. They had free choice of food. We never made sure that they went without food. Look at all this fat. Mamma mia. And then trust me, frying some potatoes with this schmaltz. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. Brings me back those memories from childhood. Ton of fat. I'm not kidding. It's everywhere. So I have to carefully separate from the rest of the organs, okay? I'm going to be saving some organs. We should be saving organs. I'm going to be saving the heart. Chicken hearts are delicious. Let me pull everything out. Pull it right out. Look at this beautiful heart. The heart will be saved. It's going to be delicious. I'm going to put it separately in a bucket. I keep everything here in a bucket. So just cold water and in a bucket until I separate everything. I'm going to take this liver out as well. Look at that. I just have to make sure that I don't accidentally cut this little green piece right here. Do you see this? Don't touch it, boys and girls, because once you touch it, it's going to be everywhere. So that is actually gallbladder. So I'm cutting around. But this is liver, and it's gorgeous. Very healthy liver. Not fatty liver. Very, very healthy. Beautiful, bright maroon color. Gorgeous. Saving that. What else can I save? I'm not saving much else except for, let me just pull this out. All right. Let's see what he's got here. Well, this was a male. So he's got one testicle, little ones, and the two testicle, little ones. So cute. All right. So the thing is that I also like to save is their stomach. It's right here. But sometimes it's difficult to clean. So I may or may not save them, but I'm kind of in a rush today. But they are delicious, especially when you put them in a soup. And this is what the stomach looks like once you remove the insides. Okay, leave this fat on, no worries. Okay, this is the lining of the stomach. So I'm gonna start first in the front. So this is the neck, right? And I'm just gonna take a sharp, short knife and I'm gonna slide right along the skin. That's how I like to do it. all the way up to here. And then I need to loosen everything up away from the skin. I do save the skin because I like to add it when I'm making broth later. It's going to be delicious. And I just separate the trachea. This is the trachea right here. It feels nice and firm. This is the swallowing pipe over here. It looks pretty empty right now, but it's attached to this part right here. Hold on a minute. I got to pull it off. See this? It's full of grain. This poor little chicken was trying to eat something this morning. All right, so I separate that. All right, make sure it's all nicely separated without cutting it because I'm going to make a mess. And I see that this chicken, as all the other chickens, all the other animals, they have lymph nodes. So there are little lymph nodes on the side. Right here, there's more of them. And they look a little opaque. And they feel firm to touch. There's more over here. So I'm going to need to make sure that I cut all of that stuff out. Okay, because we don't want that in our meat. Because lymph nodes are garbage disposals, really. And that's where all the impurities are. We need to make sure it's all removed. Okay, so this is all loosened up. Now I'm going to flip this around. Look at these testicles. This big boy. Look at them. All right, so I'm going to come over here to the side. I can remove the legs now if I want to. So all I do is just loosen it up a little bit. And we have these fancy scissors. Let me grab them over here. This fancy scissors. Sveta, where'd you get them from?
Amazon.
Amazon special. I need to get myself some. These are cool. What is this called? Gideon? Gideon.
Poultry.
Yeah. And from Poultry Scissors, look at them. And it's amazing. So I'm just going to, again, quickly run where the joint is. Yes, baby. Amazing. All right. So now I'm going to grab the skin just like this. Pull this away. And with the sharp knife, make a little incision just like this. Okay, look at all that fat inside, mamacita. And then I'm going to just run the knife around down to the bum hole over here without going deep. You don't want to go deep because if we go deep, you're going to cut intestines accidentally. And then it's going to be a mess, stinky mess at that. And I just cut around. Okay. Now I'm careful with this fat because I'm saving that fat, remember? All right, so beautiful bird. They were very healthy birds. I will have a separate video about whether it's cost effective or not cost effective to raise backyard chickens for meat. All right, so everything is here. Now I'm going to put my hand in here and pull everything out carefully without kind of breaking anything. And just pull everything. Remember, it's all loosened up front already. So I just pull this out. Okay, what do I want to save? As always, I save the liver. Okay, I'm careful saving the liver. I want to make sure that I don't cut any intestines. I don't cut anything else. This is the stomach. I can save the stomach. I don't have to save the stomach. Then, as always, I save the heart. Where's the heart? It's deeper in there. All right. So the heart, we save the heart. They are delicious muscle to eat. Okay. Save the heart. And you grab it, you pull it, and you can discard the rest of it. If you like, you can save the stomach. Okay. And if you like, you can also save this fat. All right. All right. Deeper inside, there's still lungs in there. So we have to, and they're against the back, not the front of the breast. They're actually towards the back. And I use these 2 fingers like this to scoop it because they're between the ribs. And I stick my hand in there and just pull it out. Oh, hold on. I'm pulling out the front right now. Sorry. So everything came out from the front. Okay. What is it called? Gizzard? No, it's not gizzard. Gizzard is the stomach. What's the name of this pouch? Well, in Russian, it's called zop, but in English, I don't know. I have to look it up. That's a little pouch that they keep up front on the neck where all the grain goes. But this is the lung I was telling you about. That's one lung came out. All the little lobes. See that? You can see where the lobes were separated between the ribs. Isn't that cool? Lung 1. Lung 2. Yeah, see? Lung 2, it's nice and spongy and soft. Make sure that the intestines are out because it's all out. This boy had little testicles. Little testicles. And guess what? Make sure it's nice and clean inside, all out. And now it's going into the big bucket with cold water for the wash.
There you
All
go.
right, so this is the front of the neck. I've remembered it's called crop. That little pouch that fills up with grain when they eat it. It sits right here in the front. And sometimes you can like feel it. You can't really see it because it's full of fat, but I can feel the little corn inside of here. And it's fun sometimes for the kids when, there it is. It's called crop. I had to look it up. I forgot the word. In Russian, it's called zob. See? It's right here. I can see the corn and everything. And it's basically attached to your esophagus, so when they swallow, it sits right here in the crop. And then it goes inside the stomach. And that's when they process it. And if you cut the stomach and you see a bunch of rocks in it, it's because chickens don't have teeth to break up and chew their food. So the rocks inside of their stomachs actually what chews up the food. All right. Now we know it's called crop. Then we're putting in a bucket with cold ice water to cool off because these chickens need to cool off very quickly. The meat has to be cooled off. So in the summer, it's more challenging, but right now in November, it's so cold that there's no need for ice. And they're gonna wash and chill in here. No doubt, clean. Okay, let's see if I can fit him in here. Okay, so he is 6.5 pounds, almost 6.5 pounds. Not bad, not bad. So this was a male, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna clean a female next. I want to see female. So 6.5 for male, not bad. All right, go in the water and chill, big boy. Hello, friends, and welcome back to our homestead. Today is our chicken harvesting day, and all hands are on deck. My sisters came to help. My kids are all here. My son-in-law, as I call him, Sinok, is here. Everyone is here to help. So many people ask, why, Lilia, are you doing this craziness? Why can't you just go to the grocery store or to a local farm if you have extra money and buy yourself good quality chicken? Why raise your own? It's so much work. Yeah, I'm not gonna kid. There's some work involved and money definitely involved in this process. But there is a big factor that we need to take into consideration. Couple of things. Well, when I raise my own chicken at home, I know exactly how it lived. I know exactly what I fed it. I know exactly what water it drank. I know exactly if it was sick or not. And if it was exposed to anything possibly that, could have been exposed to. I know everything about this chicken. And then when I'm processing this chicken, I also know how it was processed. Yes, there is, the convenience of going to the grocery store and buying what you need, but there's also a thing that I don't like to buy when I'm buying my meat. And one of them is the solution that this chicken was soaked in, okay? During the handling of the chicken or the processing of the chicken meat, it's often soaked in chlorine, but not the little chlorine like you think when you have tap water in a city when you're taking a shower. No, not that type of chlorine. It's actually very concentrated chlorine, and the meat is soaked in it. This process is actually outlawed in the European Union, and they use different processes. But here in the United States, they use chlorine, and they use another chemical. The abbreviation is APAA, in a pyridoxidase acid, I think it's called. I could be mispronouncing it. I don't know. And that acid, when the meat is soaked in it, it changes the color of the meat and it changes the taste of the meat. I'm not kidding. So, quick little story. Back long time ago, when we first came to this country, and we bought our first chicken. I will never forget that. And we cooked it, and we all eating it, and we all said, this doesn't taste the same way like our homegrown chickens back in the old country. Why? Because that chicken was soaked in things, okay? So, the chlorine does have some potential effects on our health, okay? And I'm not here to argue with anybody, so please no negative comments. I'm not going to answer them anyway. But I'm just telling you how I feel and why I choose to feed my family chicken that was not soaked in any kind of solution before it hit the shelf. So sometimes you will see a packaging that will say air chilled. So air chilled meaning that it was chilled in cool air and never soaked in anything. So, but that chicken is usually a whole lot more expensive, but I'm going to tell you it's much better than soaked in something. Also, think about it. It's very often when you buy that chicken and you open the package, it's slimy. It's because of that solution. Do you really want to eat that solution? I know I don't. So this is why one of the reasons why we raise our own, butcher it ourselves, and chill it ourselves in the regular cold water without anything. And then process it ourselves the way we want to. And we save the things we want to save. And the things we don't want to save, we don't. I'm getting really cold here. Probably should have been working a little bit more in a sunny spot. Would have kept me a little warmer. Anyway, so the concern of using chlorine in, well, chicken processing was not because of the health concerns really for the EU. At least that's what I found in my research. The EU, European Union, has banned use of chlorine during the processing of the meat is because they said that that would be masking the improper handling of the meat. So chlorine doesn't kill the bacteria. It just kind of like masks it from being detected on a test. So therefore, they don't use chlorine. But there's also other salts and other chemicals that they don't have to tell us about that they use for soaking the meat. And therefore, it gets absorbed. So when you're buying chicken from the store, very often it's heavier than the meat itself. Why? Because the salt is absorbed with fluid, absorbs into the chicken meat, and therefore makes the meat much heavier, okay? So cooking chicken properly all the way through is the best way to make sure that there's no salmonella or E. coli transmitted, okay? So that's always the bottom line. But as far as the health concerns, yes, I do not want to eat PAA chemical because it's going to make my chicken taste sour and slimy. And I don't want it to be soaked in chlorine and other chemicals. So that is why Mama Lil, along with her family, is doing this on a cold November day. Okay, so you may ask me why I'm doing this so late in the season. It's because no chicken was available to purchase in the spring. Remember that crazy bird flu that they created and there was no chickens, baby chicks available to purchase? So anyway, we started this from scratch. We grew them to full growth, and here they are. Chickens ready for freezer. All right, on this note, friends, I hope you are encouraged to grow your own meat right in your backyard. Enough to feed your family, because that's what homesteading is all about. It's not exactly for sale. We can't sell this meat. It's only for us. So friends, be encouraged and try something new.
Давайте проживем жизнь, давайте жить в мире, давайте жить в гармонии.